On July 17, 1453, the Battle of Castillon commenced, marking a pivotal moment in the Hundred Years' War between England and France. The 100 Years' War had spanned over a century, defined by territorial disputes and claims to the French throne between England and France. The French forces, led by Jean Bureau, were determined to repel the English from Gascony, strengthening their control over the region. Across the battlefield, the English forces were commanded by the Earl of Shrewsbury, an experienced warrior known for his past victories. As dawn broke, both armies prepared for the clash, with the French steel forging a chain of determination among troops who fought for their homeland. Jean Bureau coordinated a tactical defense, utilizing artillery that was revolutionary for the time, significantly outmatching the English forces. The English, despite their renowned fighting prowess, faced challenges against the innovative tactics employed by the French. In the midst of battle, the Earl of Shrewsbury rallied his men, urging them to hold their ground and fight valiantly. As the battle raged on, the French artillery proved decisive, creating breaches in the English ranks that led to disarray. A critical moment arrived when a key shot from French artillery struck the Earl of Shrewsbury, leading to his eventual downfall. With their leader fallen, the morale of the English forces plummeted, leading to a full retreat under the advancing French. Jean Bureau seized the opportunity, leading a decisive charge that overwhelmed the remaining English troops, ensuring a French victory. By the end of the battle, the French stood victorious, marking a turning point in the 100 Years' War. The capture of Castillon was significant, as it represented the decline of English power in France, solidifying French dominance in the region. The death of the Earl of Shrewsbury was a significant loss for the English, as he was a prominent military leader with a storied history. For the French, this battle symbolized the end of English claims to much of their territories in France, and marked the war's effective conclusion. As news of the French victory spread, it reignited nationalistic fervor and pride among the French populace, further solidifying their resolve. The battle concluded the conflict that had lasted for generations, forever changing the course of French and English history. In reflection, historians would regard Castillon as the place where the tides of war finally shifted towards France, demonstrating the effectiveness of their military strategies. Long after the battle, the memory of Castillon would serve as a reminder of the resilience and tenacity of the French in reclaiming their land. The legacies of Jean Bureau and the Earl of Shrewsbury would be remembered by future generations as symbols of two contrasting approaches to warfare and leadership. As the story of Castillon unfolded, the ripple effects of this battle extended to influence political landscapes across Europe. The victory at Castillon did not just end the war, but it also set a precedent for future military engagements, emphasizing the need for adaptability. In the years following Castillon, French nationalism surged, birthing a new sense of identity among the people. Conversely, in England, the loss at Castillon initiated a period of reflection and re-evaluation of their military strategies and alliances. Ultimately, the Battle of Castillon would be viewed as not just an end, but a significant turning point in the narrative of the 100 Years' War. Jean Bureau's reputation grew tremendously in the wake of his victory, paving the way for future military innovations in France. Meanwhile, the legacy of the Earl of Shrewsbury became synonymous with valor in the face of adversity, remembered in English lore. On the eve of the battle, tensions escalated as both sides fortified their positions, preparing for the inevitable clash. News of the upcoming confrontation spread through the camps, filling soldiers with a mix of dread and resolve. As dawn broke, soldiers from both sides gathered, exchanging glances filled with anxiety. The air was thick with anticipation as leaders finalized their strategies, knowing the stakes were higher than ever before. With the sun fully risen, the battle commenced. French artillery units unleashed an onslaught of projectiles, bombarding the English positions with devastating accuracy, startling the soldiers caught off guard. The English forces, primarily composed of longbowmen, tried to retaliate, launching arrows towards the French ranks. However, their precision was undermined by the shifting chaos brought about by the artillery bombardments. Despite the efforts of the English archers, the French maintained the upper hand, bolstered by their artillery's strategic placements. Jean Bureau, spotting weaknesses in the English line, ordered further assaults to exploit them. In the midst of the conflict, the Earl of Shrewsbury rallied his men, trying to instill courage. With armor shining and voice booming, he urged them to hold their ground against the relentless French advances. As the battle raged on, the French artillery claimed a pivotal victory when a cannonball struck the Earl of Shrewsbury, thrusting him into the annals of history, marking a turning point for the English. With their commander incapacitated, a wave of panic washed over the English troops, disarray evident as they faltered in their positions. The French seized the moment, launching a fierce counterattack. As the hour progressed, the English forces, now leaderless and demoralized, began to retreat, while the French advanced with fervor. Reclaiming the battlefield they fought hard to secure. The battle concluded with the French proclaiming victory, their cries echoing through the fields of Castillon as the last remnants of English presence in Gascony evaporated. In the aftermath, French forces began to strategize for the future, with Jean Bureau emerging as a hero, his tactics reshaping French military strategies moving forward. The English, reeling from their defeat, returned home to face the grim reality of their loss, prompting debates on military strategies and leadership. Reflections on the battle sparked discussions in both nations about the evolving nature of warfare, with a focus on artillery's pivotal role during the battle. A legacy of the Battle of Castillon was solidified as a symbol of French resilience, reinforcing national identity through strategic victory over the English. Meanwhile, English subjects speculated on the need for reforms within their military approach, pondering lessons learned from the stunning defeat. News of the battle and Shrewsbury's death spread like wildfire, igniting a sense of mourning across England, with many grieving the loss of a valiant leader. In French circles, Jean Bureau was heralded as a national hero, his tactics studied and admired, leading to collaborations among military strategists in future endeavors. The evolving political landscapes in both nations were influenced heavily by the Battle of Castillon, leading to shifts in alliances and regional power dynamics. As the years went on, Castillon was remembered as a crucial moment in the broader context of the 100 Years' War, encapsulating the shifting fortunes of both nations. The event also inspired literature and art on both sides, reflecting the heroic narratives and myths that sprang from the battle, shaping cultural perceptions for generations to come. The French forces gathered in the early morning light, bracing themselves for the confrontation ahead. Jean Bureau, their steadfast leader, rallied his troops with motivating words, instilling a sense of purpose and unity. As the English troops assembled, Earl of Shrewsbury inspected his men, instilling confidence in their readiness. The atmosphere was tense, and the clinking of armor and murmurs filled the air, indicating the high stakes of the day. The battle commenced with the booming of cannon fire from French artillery, signaling the onset of conflict. This powerful weaponry starkly contrasted the longbow, which had been the English hallmark for decades. The initial chaos disrupted the English longbowmen, who struggled to maintain their formation under the relentless fire of the French artillery. The noise and confusion set an unnerving tone for the battle. Recognizing the turmoil among English troops, Jean Bureau capitalized on this moment and ordered a flanking maneuver, which significantly caught the English off guard and shifted the momentum in favor of the French. The Earl of Shrewsbury, realizing the gravity of the situation, attempted to rally his forces. However, disarray swept through the ranks as confusion reigned with every cannon blast. As the battle raged, a cannonball struck the Earl of Shrewsbury, causing trauma that reverberated through the English lines. Panic ensued, further weakening their resolve. In the wake of Shrewsbury's injury, a wave of disillusionment washed over the English ranks. The once proud forces began to falter, fearing that their leader's fall foretold their doom. Jean Bureau, seizing the opportunity, commanded a fresh wave of attacks. The morale of the French surged, fueled by the determination to claim victory and secure their homeland. With English troops in retreat, French forces surged forward, encouraged by the scent of victory. The decisive charge led by Bureau proved to be the final blow to the English defenses. The retreating English soldiers found their way blocked and disorganized, leading to a rout. The cries of defeat echoed as the English forces scattered across the battlefield. As the dust settled, Jean Bureau surveyed the battlefield, acknowledging the transformation from chaos to triumph. Victory belonged to the French, and Castillon was secured. The death of Earl of Shrewsbury weighed heavily on the English forces. Mourning and regret filled their hearts as they recognized the loss of a great commander and leader in their ranks. In the aftermath, the news of the French victory spread swiftly across the lands, igniting pride in France and leading to reflections in England about their military strategies and future endeavors. The political implications of Castillon reverberated through Europe. Leaders began to reassess alliances and confrontations, marking the beginning of a new era in European politics. French national pride surged as Bureau's strategies were lauded. His tactical genius became a model for future military leadership, symbolizing a shift in the nature of warfare in Europe. In England, the loss at Castillon forced military leaders to reconsider their approach to future conflicts, igniting debates about the efficacy of traditional methods versus adopting more modern tactics. The legacy of the Battle of Castillon lasted for generations, signifying the end of English territorial ambitions in France and marking a restoration of French confidence and power. Castillon was not merely a battle, it became a symbol of French resilience and unity under pressure. Hopes were reignited, unifying the people in ways not seen for decades. The tragic fall of the Earl of Shrewsbury became a focal point in English folklore, a representation of heroism and the grave reality of war, inspiring countless stories of chivalry and sacrifice. In schools across France, the tactics employed by Jean Bureau were studied and revered, cementing his place in military history and ensuring his strategic insights would guide future leaders. As Europe emerged from the shadows of the Hundred Years' War, Castillon served as the foundational lesson of the changing landscape of warfare, setting the stage for conflicts to come. Ultimately, the Battle of Castillon reshaped the narrative of national identity in both France and England, forging paths forward in their respective histories, rooted in the lessons learned.